What's going on, guys? Jeff Wybo here, and I'm with my brother, Phil Wybo, and he's going to be talking all about Airbnbs to us. If you are new and you stumbled across the channel, hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. I have give out a lot of great real estate agent and investor tips, and let's hear a few stories about the Airbnb in the trenches from my bro, Phil Wybo.
So we're kind of going to go over, we were chatting the other day about, you know, I can tell you about tons of good stories on Airbnb, but let's go over the problem stories.
That's what everybody wants to know.
Everybody wants to know when the problems happen.
The
right?
doomsday scenarios that can happen.
Yes. So, I mean, I'll speak of the first one.
So talk about you own an Airbnb.
Right. So I own an Airbnb here in London, not that far from the location that we're at now. I've been running it for a whole year.
And you're a Superhost.
I am a Superhost, and I just got my whole year of being a Superhost. And if you don't know, Airbnb gives out a $100 travel credit to those Superhosts who have kept the Superhost for an entire year. And for those of you who don't know, Superhost is not it's not easy to hold.
What is a Superhost? Yeah.
So basically, you need a 4.8 star rating.
Right.
There's certain parameters as to what you need to get it. But yeah, it's not easy. If somebody gives you a bad review over the 100 reviews that you need, like it could be lost really quickly.
Right.
And once you've lost it, then there's no going back.
Because you said the other day somebody wrote, "Great place," and then they just gave a 3-star.
3-star.
Out of that's just the person. They're just.
And you want to reach out to them and be like, "Why did you leave a 3-star? When you thought everything was great, you said great location." Like you guys don't get to see the parameters as to why they were giving 3 stars, but in mine, it shows as to why. They thought that, and everything was positive, and I was just like, I'm not going to even reach out to this person, because it does take a long time to get things reversed on reviews. That's something that Airbnb needs to work at.
Right.
But yeah, let's go into something of the negatives. So I had guests stay over. Again, my tips on McKeever's channel was to not let people
from your city.
And I made a mistake again and let someone from my city rent.
This was your tip.
This was my tip. You do take chances once in a while, because you do get some good stories, you get some bad stories. And you know, I'd say 50-50 is a good story and a bad story. So these people, stayed up late, whatever it was, they were partying a little bit, find out in the morning that they damaged a table. My cleaner gave me a call. She said, "Hey, the table's damaged." Basically, I think they spilled red wine and the table was stained red. And she said, "There's no way I'm getting this out." And it was the first time that I was actually saying, okay, I'm gonna go after a guest for some money. You know, they brought in more guests than they were supposed to, partied late than they weren't supposed to. And I kind of just turned the other cheek on these things. I tried to say,
and
pick your battles.
And you're living in the other side of the, it's a duplex.
It's a duplex, so I live on the other side, so I know everything that's going on. I continue to know when there's noise going on, and I have quiet hours between 11 and 6. And again, for those of you who don't know, Airbnb sets quiet hours, and you can set them yourself, and basically you're supposed to go to bed. You're not supposed to be talking, you're not supposed to be doing anything, you're supposed to be, those are the times, like, to not disturb other guests in the building. Now the hotels do the same thing, but to an extent, if you're in a hotel, there's going to be other noise, and you kind of just, you got to pick your battles in the hotel as well. So I decided to go after this guest for damaging the table. You have to take a picture of what's happening, send it into Airbnb, and then ask that guest. They have 72 hours to respond to your response. So what you have to do is you have to find that product online. Take a photo of that product online and attach it to your file, basically. So then you can show what the price is. So the price of the product was $190, I want to say. Then I factored in taxes and I factored in my time a little bit. Plus they added an extra guest. My cleaner had told me that more guests had left in the morning. On addition to that, they didn't even wake up in time. So my cleaner had to come in and kick them out, being like, "Hey, 11 o'clock is checkout. I need to clean to get the next guest in."
Right.
So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go after them for that as well. And so an extra guest to me cost $26, so I added that. So grand total, I think it was $226 or $225, $250, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact total. And I basically said, "Yep, this is what you owe me." They didn't respond. So after 72 hours, you can involve Airbnb. And then what happens after that is Airbnb gets involved. They call the guest and say, "Hey, this is what's happened." On this case, the guest said, "No, we didn't do that." I had all the proof towards it, and Airbnb felt bad for me. They said, "You know what, Phil, this is your first time submitting a claim. You're a Superhost. You've been doing this for over a year. We'll just give you the money." So they literally just gave me $226. It goes right into my PayPal account, and I got the cash for it. So, whatever I end up doing, did I go get a new table? Whatever I decide to do with that cash, obviously, is my say. So get away from that. I kind of won that battle. That's a victory for me. Later on, I have another guest coming, and he's from China, and he has a bad review. I looked at it and it said he had smoked in a unit before. And so I made it perfectly clear with this guest that, hey, if I catch you smoking, there's going to be a $500 fine. Okay, no problem. And I said, hey, how many guests you gonna have? He only booked for one guest. He said, well, actually there's two, and I don't have an additional charge for the extra guest after one. And so I was like, okay, no problem. We'll keep the price the same. Just keep in mind, again, catch you smoking, it's $500. He agreed, let him stay. He arrived home at 1:30 in the morning. Again, reminder, I live there, so I know what time these guests come home. And the minute he comes home, the whole entire house smelled like cigarette. And I know it smells like cigarette because it's coming through the vents. Yeah. Right? And I know he's not outside. It's literally, I'm sticking my face up into the vent. And yeah, I smell cigarettes. And cigarettes is a little bit different than weed. Like weed, different story, it happens all the time. I can literally handle the weed smell. It's not as bad, it's not as potent, but the cigarette smell is terrible. Right. It's just god awful. So I tried to document that. I called Airbnb at 1 in the morning. This is the thing, guys, you need proof. Proof when things happen. Document everything that bad happens. So anyways, I called Airbnb at 1 in the morning saying, hey, the guest is smoking. I didn't want Airbnb calling him and being like, hey, don't smoke in the unit. I wanted to document it all because the minute he does, or the Airbnb calls him and says, hey, stop smoking, he's going to clean up all his evidence. Right. And I'm never going to get that 500, right? So basically, I didn't message the guest. I didn't do anything. I just tried to document as best as possible. Then tried to make the claim the next day. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything in the unit. All I found was a lighter, and that doesn't really state that he was smoking in the unit. Couldn't really prove that he was smoking. I decided to make my claim anyways. Second time I'm doing it because I just didn't like this guest. I wanted to make an example of this guy, make sure that nobody ever rents to this guy again because he's a liar. Right. So additionally, he had 3 guests. You're helping out other Airbnb hosts by going through the process. Correct. And I want to do that to hope that I get the same respect, right? So when I go to read a review, okay, this guy's no good or she's no good. Right. I don't want to rent to this person. It's like a peer-to-peer network. Correct. Okay. It's like your landlord looking for a referral from the previous landlord. Well, we have it all documented on Airbnb, and that's the great thing about Airbnb. So anyways, I went to, took a picture of the lighter, made my case, said, hey, I called at 1 in the morning. Obviously I'm a Superhost. I'm not lying. I'm not sabotaging a guest based upon this. Like, I don't need the extra money. I'm not saying, oh, he did this just because so I can get $500. Like, what kind of karma is that, right? Yeah. Clearly the guest did this. Unfortunately, Airbnb didn't agree because I didn't have the evidence. But they did feel bad for me, and they said, yeah, we do believe you. They did give me some money, so they gave me $225 for the inconvenience. Again, because it's Superhost, they want to take care of me. They know that they need people like me to stay in business, and I'm driving good, customers to they're making money off me, and they're making money off the client. Right. The only thing they said is review the guest, so I reviewed him to the 9, said he smoked, he had extra guests. I would not recommend this. So now that guest has 2 bad reviews. Is he done? He left me a really bad review. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the tip for you guys. And I learned this from Laura, who has a channel. Another Airbnb guest host in the city here. She said, force the guests to make a review, because once they make a review, they can't change the review. Now, I think Airbnb needs to look at this. And when we attack, maybe I shouldn't say attack, when we try to go after a guest for money of damages, they should not allow that guest to review. Clearly something's now, like, they're upset. Had a great time. Thanks for finding me $500. Thanks for coming after me for money. Yeah, that's not gonna, they're not gonna come after you for that. So yeah, something needs to change there, and I made that clear. In the midst of this, somehow his name changed as well. So his name was like whatever, and then all of a sudden his name was different, and I went back to Airbnb and was like, how is this not breaking the rules? He came in with a fake name. Now all of a sudden, because you asked him to leave a review, he's got a real name. Something's up there. And then they would not take down his review. They're like, he didn't break any rules. I'm like, how's that not breaking a rule? So it sounds like they're usually on your side, but there's still some kinks with the Airbnb reviewing and like the whole organization that they gotta kind of sort out, because it's a little host versus guest kind of
fighting sometimes.
Sure.
But how many stays have you even had?
So review-wise, over 100 reviews.
Okay.
Still sitting at the 4.8 star rating.
Right.
Probably had over 150 stays. You know, not everybody reviews, and at this point doesn't matter if I can keep the Superhost going.
So 150 and two problems.
Two
pretty
problems,
much. And
yeah.
they weren't horrible.
No.
It was a table.
Yes.
And potential smoke.
And
it didn't. Did it stain the unit?
Not at all.
Smell or anything?
Not at all.
So, you know, we were talking about doomsday scenarios. Like, there's not too much. You can, if any problems come up, you can fix them pretty good.
Correct.
And you've made a fortune off of this unit, right?
Like let's compare being to regular rent to Airbnb, right?
And to all the regular landlords out there, we all have problems ourselves versus this just becomes the new landlord issues.
Exactly.
You stained a table.
And look,
right? You stained my table.
Airbnb protected me.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm not saying that
cool.
they're going to do that all the time.
That's awesome.
But if you can have a good rapport with them and continue to do stuff like that.
So you want to start a channel, right?
Correct.
So talking about Airbnbs.
Yeah. So
you guys think you should do that? Comment down below.
Comment below. Say yes. So I'm, going to orchestrate trying to interview Airbnb hosts. Maybe go through a little the positives, the negatives, showcase the city that we're in, and I'm going to try to do this all over the world. It's going to be very lucrative, and it's going to show the numbers as to what Airbnb hosts make if they're willing to share. And you're going to get to showcase. And I think the advantage of that is that you're going to see an Airbnb location in a city that you didn't know, and you may even meet a person within that city, and it gives you a place like, oh, Phil trusted that place. He explained it. He explained all the amenities and everything that was close. It's a very, if you're going to travel to that city, maybe a very good video to watch, so that way you know what to go watch.
Maybe the host shares your link.
Correct.
And they can show the video.
And what's good for the host is what I'm hoping is that we're going to do a walkthrough for them as well.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping Airbnb does that at some point, where that you can, we do this in real estate, right? Me and you, where you can walk through a property and you don't even have to be there.
Yeah.
So if Airbnb could implement that.
Yeah, because pictures always lie.
Pictures do lie. Yeah, you don't know how big the space is, how many chairs there are. Is there you could literally have a walkthrough of how to get into the building.
Yep.
How to get up.
And it's practically a frequently asked questions video.
Correct.
Where's the outside door? It's here. How do I put the code in? There you go.
There it is.
Watch the video.
So you're trying to automate everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we do on all of our other stuff.
Awesome.
So.
And then you're on Instagram. At Phil
Wybo.
Wybo.
Yep.
So yeah, give him a follow, guys. He posts there every day.
All the time. Always Airbnb stuff. All his tips. I get a lot of people reaching out to me. I give them good tips of what to do and what not to do, and it's been fun. And next year you hear it here now. I'm going to try to open up 5 Airbnbs. We're going to keep it going. Next year's the big year for us as realtors. It takes about 2 years for the bank to recognize us. So I've been saving. That way we can, go bigger. So that's going to fund the travel. It's going to fund everything that I need to do, with the channel and hopefully, everything else.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, thank you for taking time to watch the video. If you haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe. Click that button down there and subscribe to the channel. And hit that like button. It really boosts up the YouTube algorithm for me. So I'm trying to get the channel growing a bit. So thank you so much for being on the show there, Phil.
Pleasure.
On the channel. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.